Welcome to Slay the Gatekeeper. I'm your host, Courtney Johnson, and I am here to un-gatekeep the gatekept. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy. Well, great. Hello. Welcome, Alex. Super excited that you're here. We actually had a one-on-one recently where you talked about lead generation, and it really interested me. And I'm like, damn, I gotta have you on the pod. So welcome, Alex. Do you want to give a little bit of background about who you are, what you're working on?
I'm Alex, super happy and excited to be on the pod. And yeah, I stumbled into lead gen because I was doing the traditional marketing agency model. And what I found was that I was actually better at getting people on the phone than I was actually fulfilling for them. And I have been doing lead gen now for the past 4 or 5 years. And rather than focusing on the classic marketing agency model and fulfilling those services, I have been helping others with lead gen and learning how to book as many sales appointments as possible on their calendars for whatever type of B2B agency, marketing agency, any type of B2B business that they're running.
Mm-hmm. So how are you actually getting these leads? How are you? I know it's kind of a lot of questions, but how are you getting the leads and how are you making sure that they're qualified? Are you running ads? Are you like scraping data and working with that? What's your process of getting these leads?
Yeah, so I've experimented with so many different data scraping tools over the years, and the key to building a solid list is just going wherever your audience lives. So I'll give you an example. When I was doing paid ads and doing email marketing for beauty business owners, specifically within the lash business space, what I would do is I would just stalk my ideal clients on Instagram, look at who they're following and who they consider as thought leaders in their industry, and then use that tool to scrape the follower lists of those thought leaders, because the people that follow these coaches or these influencers in that industry are already expressing interest and showing that they want to get more information to grow their business, etc. So it shows that they're qualified. It shows that they're qualified just by the fact that they're following closely with those accounts.
Okay, so let's say that you were working for like an agency that did personal brand stuff. You could go to my account, find the people that follow me, because if they follow me, they're probably interested in getting personal brand help, and scrape their data. So it would be their username, their email, their phone, all of that.
Exactly. And so you could do that on Instagram, you could do it on LinkedIn. A lot of these thought leaders in these industries are posting lead magnets as well. And so the comment section on those lead magnets are also a gold mine. And so these tools just scrape everyone that's interacted with that post or with that account. You just tell it where to scrape and it will spit out phone numbers, email addresses, etc.
Okay, very smart. So if I'm posting a lead magnet of a LinkedIn profile optimization guide and people are commenting guide, you could pull everyone that's commented guide because clearly they desire to optimize their LinkedIn profile and they already have that intent.
Exactly.
That is so sneaky. I love it. So let's say we got it. Like you scraped the data of my followers, as well as people that are like downloading specific lead magnets that I'm putting out because you have this agency that does personal brand work. Like now what? Now what do you do? Now how do you follow up with them in a way that actually converts rather than just them being annoyed? You know that feeling when nobody really gets what you're going through, when you're surrounded by all of these people, but you're somehow still feel alone? I lived that reality for years until I discovered the power of healing in community. Reinvigorate and Restore is a luxury 6-day retreat in Cape Town designed specifically for women who are ready to move beyond survival mode to begin living your best life truly and authentically. Imagine 6 days in Cape Town, April 14th through 19th, by the way, in a luxurious villa where everything is designed for your restoration. Morning yoga overlooking the mountains, sound healing sessions, authentic connection with people who understand your journey without explanation. Imagine 6 days with people who truly get it, who see you, hear you, and walk alongside you in your healing journey. Time is limited, so book your spot for April. Again, the retreat is April 14th through 19th, and you can visit survivorsriseretreat.com to book a call with Paula to learn more. Your people are waiting for you.
Totally, totally. So I think that this is a little bit of a hot take that I have when it comes to cold outreach. I don't believe in opening up your cold outreach conversation, trying to build rapport, which I know is I've posted about that on my own platform and I've gotten a lot of disagreements on that. But I think that as long as you're sending an initial offer that speaks to exactly what your client's pain points are, it's pretty easy to get them on the phone. So the way that I do that is I tell them exactly what it is that I'm offering, the results that I can get them, how long it would take me, and a high level overview of how I'm doing that. And then the very end of the message is, are you open to chatting? So then I feed that into my automation tool, and then that tool sends that message to all of those leads that I scraped. And pretty quickly, people will just respond, yes, I'm interested in hopping on the phone. And then that is where you can go in and build rapport through some of your content or case studies that you've generated. I say that always shoot with the offer right away, build rapport after, before they got onto the phone, and then close the deal once you've gotten them onto the call.
Okay, interesting, because that is a very controversial take. I feel like most people would probably say build rapport first, but you're like, no, if we're pitching, let's just go straight to the pitch. And then if they're like, when they're in that curious space between the pitch and the call, that's when you're nurturing them. That's when you're sending them content and doing the nurture strategy. That's super interesting.
Yeah, that's the strategy that's worked well for me because I think, I mean, I'm not saying obviously that building rapport before pitching, obviously that works for so many people and it is a surefire way eventually to close a deal once you have that rapport. But I think that when you're pumping out such large volume, you don't necessarily always have the time to be building that rapport with every single individual lead. And you would be surprised with how much interest you can get from that initial outreach message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's really that's really, really smart. So they book the call, or you're sending them the offer, then they're building rapport and you get them on the call, then you just have a salesperson go through and take them through the call. Is that right?
So I, at this point, am the one that's hopping on all of the calls. And so, yeah, I have that conversation with them in the DM and they express that they're wanting to learn more. And typically that turnaround between them saying yes to wanting to learn more and actually hopping onto the call, I try to minimize that to keep the lead as warm as you can. So sometimes I'll even make my call to action like, are you free to chat in 10 minutes? Or are you free to jump on a call today, tomorrow? Try to do it within that 24-hour window. And rather than sending a booking link, I will just book them myself because you run the risk for them to not click that link and book a call with you, especially when it comes to cold outreach. So then prior to actually jumping onto the call with them, I have the nurture sequence set up where they're getting a certain amount of case studies sent to them and just learning a little bit more about what it is that I have to offer. Then I jump on the
Mm-hmm.
call.
Okay, super interesting. So what are some of the things or cheat codes that you're doing to nurture them so you are building this trust?
Yeah, so like I said, sending any type of social proof or case studies with other clients that I've worked with and just showing some of the results that we have generated for them. I'll typically send them that. As soon as they've agreed to a call, I will sometimes ask a few questions directly in the DM so that I have a little bit more of a picture before I jump onto the call with them. And that is, I know that some people like to do an intake form, but for me, I typically am pretty conversational about it once they've already expressed their interest. And it's a pretty casual conversation of just, oh, yeah, totally. That's something that we can help with. That's something that we see often. And then pretty seamless pipeline then to increasing the show up rate as well once that rapport has been built.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's a certain like level or revenue you have to be at to run this play? Like, do you need to be established? Is this just for companies? Or what if you're like a personal brand that's like a CPA or like a graphic designer or something? Can they be running this play too? Nexus Point is a best in class outsourcing company that helps business owners and entrepreneurs scale efficiently and profitably by leveraging the global talent pool. Founded by entrepreneurs like yourselves, Nexus Point uses its vast infrastructure to find, hire, and train best in class talent from around the globe. At just 20% of the cost of hiring locally, Nexus Point will provide you with pre vetted talent with college degrees and at least 3 years of work experience, often with US based business owners. From executive assistants to social media managers, customer service reps, data entry and research analysts, and other back office functions, Nexus Point can help take you and your business to the next most profitable level yet. Use the special link or mention Slay the Gatekeeper and have the $500 search fee completely waived. Delegation is so important, but it can be so hard to find the right talent. So I highly recommend checking out a Nexus Point. Again, you can book a call at go.nexuspt.io/Courtney Johnson or visit the link in the show notes.
Oh, absolutely. That's something that I also preach is that especially when it comes to Instagram outreach and SMS outreach, it often works better when you don't do your outreach from a super businessy, professional looking account. I get way higher responses when I'm reaching out from my just normal everyday Instagram account because a lot of these business owners are used to getting pitched and receiving a million DMs in a day, and oftentimes they all look the same. So when you look like someone who could potentially be inquiring about that business owner services, your DM is it's more likely to get opened. So I actually encourage doing outreach from a pretty standard account, especially when it comes to Instagram. So yeah, to answer your question, there really isn't any barrier for someone to do cold outreach. And like I mentioned with SMS, because you have all these phone numbers, I know that technically cold SMS is illegal, but when you're doing SMS from iMessage, it's not technically SMS because it's a separate platform. So the app that I use is the Reach app, and you just have that initial outreach message, you send it to that list that you scraped, and that especially, like even if you are an established business owner and you're doing outreach over text, they're not seeing right away that you're an established owner. So it doesn't really affect your response rate as much because people aren't going to be doing a lot of digging. They just read, either ignore it, or they choose to respond right on the spot.
Yeah, I think that this is really important to call out that like anybody can be doing this and it works better from a personal account. This is so true. Like, oh my gosh, the amount of annoying cold outreach I get from brands that just like whatever is not helpful. But if it's a human, immediately my guard is down. Immediately I'm like, okay, like I'll entertain this, I'll talk to this person. Um, for sure. Is there a way, like, how are you making this custom? Because I find that, like, if you can be a little customized in your outreach messages, like, the conversion's a lot higher. Or does it not matter because the people that you're pulling have the same goal? So it's custom in the fact that you, like, know the transformation they're desiring to make.
Yeah, totally. Something that I encourage is relevancy and greater segmentation over customization. So I'll give you an example, and I'll bring it back to when I was doing this for the marketing agency model that I was running. I knew that when I was doing outreach to lash artists that followed higher end suppliers, I could position my offer as more of a white glove service, done for you deal, as opposed to those lash artists that were following some of those more affordable suppliers. Those offers were more done with you. They didn't, they were more, how do I say this? Those offers were positioned in a way that felt more approachable to people who might not be generating as much revenue within that specific industry. So I would say that that's one way to customize, but I typically don't customize based on, hey, I saw this on your profile. I think that's interesting. I think if anything, what you can do and what I have one of my VAs do is I give them the list of people who the automation went out to, and then they'll go and comment on that person's content. And I just
Mm.
tell them to comment anything personal that they think is interesting. And then it's just a quick, like, hey, love this, sent you a message. Hope you can take a look. Something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really cool. This is so sneaky. I love it. Today's episode is sponsored by my Sunrise Content Club. I created Sunrise Content Club because I really desired accountability in my content creation. How it works is we meet on Zoom every single weekday from 8 to 9 a.m. We get on the Zoom, we play some fun music, we have a little mindful moment, and then I give you a content prompt. And we spend about 45 minutes working on this prompt together. In this time, you can ask questions, get feedback on your content. And at the end, we all share our wins and we also share our content that we have created during that time. So we all get an initial boost because we are liking and commenting on each other's posts. There's also a really fun and supportive group chat where you can ask questions, share your content, get accountability. The Sunrise Content Club is an incredible way to stay consistent in your content creation and have community support. It is especially helpful with folks with ADHD who find value in body doubling. For a very limited time, you can join the Sunrise Content Club for just $99 a month. This is a very special limited time founders rate, and I am so excited to see you guys there. Join the Sunrise Content Club today. Yeah, I haven't done any cold outreach, which is really crazy because I know I'm definitely missing out on a lot of money and impact and customers, but that's why I wanted to talk to you. That's really, really cool. So you're mainly on Instagram. Are you doing any cold outreach on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'm experimenting with cold outreach on LinkedIn more manually before I'm introducing automation tools because I find that LinkedIn is a little bit more sensitive when it comes to introducing automation. I also think that because oftentimes when you are connecting with people in your ICP, they will message you right when they accept that connection request. It's pretty easy just to respond back with that offer. And I would say that I still consider that cold outreach, even though the other person accepted and sent that initial message. I found that that has been most effective on LinkedIn, but I typically, from what I've experimented with, I don't advise sending a message with the connection request. I always just send that message once we've already gotten connected.
I'm glad you said that because I tell people this all the time, especially in my level up on LinkedIn cohort,
Yeah.
is do not don't pitch in your connection request or they're immediately going to decline it. Just wait until they accept you. And you're right, LinkedIn is way more strict. They're way more strict about automation, and that could get hairy, especially if you're trying things out where you have an established LinkedIn profile that's really important for your personal brand and getting your clients. I wouldn't get too crazy with the automations, but you could use something like Sales Navigator. You could wait till people message you, then message them, wait till somebody accepts your request, then do a cold outreach. Like those are all really solid ways. But I agree, like I find that on X or Instagram or Facebook, you can go a little harder with testing out kind of crazy shit. But LinkedIn, I just wouldn't get too crazy on LinkedIn, especially if your income is dependent on it.
Totally, totally. And I think that a loophole, I think that LinkedIn is a great place to scrape leads because similarly, like I mentioned with Instagram, it's another place where you can tell what people's exact buyer's intent is. So, if anything, I have used my lead scraping tools on LinkedIn to get those contacts and then I reach out to them via iMessage.
Okay, that's really interesting. Um, is there any time where you like can't find people's stuff and you're like, fuck, like I I can't find anything about you?
Well, with the tool, because it's all the lead scraping part is all automated, it just won't return back an email or a phone number if it's not available.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Totally.
doesn't ever return the name. It's usually one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Well, like what are you offering right now? Like if somebody's listening to this and they're like, "Oh shit, Alex, I want to start implementing this for me." Like how are you working with clients on this?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm setting up first off, I bring them onto a one-time setup call. I don't lock any of my clients into a long-term contract. It's just one-time call where I learn more about what it is that you're offering, or we get more solid on what it is that you're offering and write those offers together. I have a ton of different frameworks that I run my clients through. And then I just probe a little bit more about where their audience hangs out online, which drives where we'll be doing the outreach, where we'll be scraping the leads. Then I set up all of those individual automation tools, just have my client literally share their screen and I walk them through it. And then we'll just run some campaigns together and I check back in on a weekly basis individually for the first month. And then after the first month, they can just join my office hours, ask any questions they want, and my team will scrape a certain amount of leads for them for however much, for an unlimited amount of time.
Okay, cool. That's super cool. What's like a price range of working with you on this? Like I'd love for people to start thinking of, yeah, to see what budget you fit in. I know, I guess it's
Yeah.
like done with you and done for you, or just done with you.
It's done with you. The only thing that's truly done for you is we'll offer X amount of leads that will scrape for you, like I said, and that's lifetime access to that. So yeah, starting price is $1,500 for the one-time setup, and then you get all-time forever access.
Wow, that is a really great deal.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, y'all gotta work with Alex. That's really cool. Yeah, I think this is great. Like again, it's such a marketing cheat code that I feel like not a lot of people are using, but it seems so obvious. We have the information. I think it's great. Like again, this is something I definitely want to try. Yeah, okay, great. Is there any other cheat codes or any other tips or ideas that you want to leave with the audience?
Yeah, a tip that I would give is just outreach is such a numbers game, and it's so easy to get hung up on the no's, but oftentimes getting no from people is a sign that one, the quality of your lead list is pretty good if you're getting responses in the first place. Um, at that point, it's just switching up your messaging. So with that, I would say don't get hung up on the no's, continue to pump out the numbers and experiment what type of messaging is landing with your list, and just be very, very open to experimentation and trying out new offers, because every offer eventually burns out. The more that people are used to hearing a specific offer, the less effective it becomes. So don't be afraid to make your messaging a little bit unconventional, sounds like a human, like we talked about earlier, and truly just write these messages the way that you would text a friend, which is something that I think that a lot of people don't think of, especially when you're trying to get people to buy your services. People are under the impression that you need to come off as this super established, super buttoned up business owner, but people want to connect with other humans. So I think that that is the main mindset shift that everyone should make prior to even starting outreach.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, talk like a friend, write like a friend. I
Mhm.
could not agree more. Well, Alex, if listeners want to work with you, where can they find you? How can they sign up for your program?
Yeah, so y'all can find me on LinkedIn. Eventually, I will be starting up on YouTube and Instagram, but for now, it's LinkedIn. Alex Alvarez. I'll send Courtney a link, and you can just connect with me there, and would love to work with everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alex. Okay, y'all, if you liked this episode, you would love my Patreon, okay? You get exclusive access to me, exclusive content, tons of other resources, and a lot of juicy shit, okay? So I hope to see you on my Patreon.